Hi everyone, my latest little project. I'm not going to film the whole thing, film it all as I'm doing it, because it's basically a pain in the arse trying to do something and film at the same time. You need 3 arms, which unfortunately I don't have. So what I'm doing, I've been thinking of doing for a long time, is fitting some Oxford heated grips to the bike. After one day too many of having freezing cold hands, I finally thought, sod it, let's buy some. I've never had them before, so I'll be interested to see how well they work. So what I'm going to do, I'll fill a few sections and I'll probably join it all together and just upload one video to YouTube at some point. So I'll just do segments as I go along. So the job I've just nipped out this evening to do quickly to see how easy it would be is, as you can see, remove the Suzuki hand grips. I've just got the throttle one off as well. Now most videos where I watch people doing this, everybody picks up a Stanley knife and slices them off like it's going to be some major job to get the grips off. And I kid you not, the left hand side of the handlebar I reckon I had off within 2 minutes, no effort at all. Just got a screwdriver, take your bar end off, get the screwdriver, wiggle it in to the grip, just wind it till it comes round and it's kind of breaking up the glue, and then just twisted that, it come off so easy you wouldn't believe it. Throttle side a little bit more tricky as I expected, because on the throttle what they do, there's a bit of a lip here. In fact, this is the throttle side there. There's actually, don't know if you'll see this, there's actually a little groove in there that slots into, and there's an even thicker one on the inner part of the throttle, so that obviously hooks over that and kind of that sinks into this. So there's a little bit more effort. I worked this end off a bit with a screwdriver and managed to pull it back just a fraction to break it off that lip. This big lip on the end, I actually sort of peeled this back, done the screwdriver thing first, then peeled this back a bit to get it off there. Kept working the screwdriver. This side probably took me maybe spent 10 minutes getting this side off, like, just because it's obviously dragging on this as you're trying to get it off, but just persist with the screwdriver and slowly winding it back and it come off. So I think it's a bit daft to cut them off. I'm thinking they can either go on eBay. I've never looked how much they sell for on eBay, but it's probably, someone would probably buy them. Or my second thought was, because I'm actually thinking of changing this bike soon when I've got the money together. So the other thing I can do now I've got the grips is, hopefully when the time comes, take the Oxford grips back off, put the standard grips back on, and then I've got them for whatever new bike I end up with. So here's the left hand side of the Oxford grip. I've got the sports version, which is a very, it's a kind of diamond shape, really grippy feel to that. I take it because they're called Oxford sports grips, these ones, so I'm assuming a bit grippier for the position you're on a sports bike. They also do a touring one, which is a different design to this, and there's a touring one, I believe. The touring ones I think are considerably longer for some reason, whereas the sports and the touring one, I reckon, will fit the majority of bikes with 22mm diameter handlebars. Yeah, the throttle side's 25, I think, because obviously they allow for the throttle body. And you can actually trim the edges. I think they're 100, don't quote me exactly, I think they're about 120mm long, these ones. But this end section, you see the little groove there, you can slice that little bit off if you want to, or you can actually take that full ridge off there if for some reason you needed it. But on my 650 Bandit, I know 7 plate, they're actually bang on the same size, so I'm not going to have to mess about trimming any of that off. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get the glue off of this side, and that's what I'll do. I'll piece some videos together and I'll put the whole thing on. I'm expecting this to be a very easy job. It looks dead simple. You've only got sort of wire on each end, and I'll probably put the heat controller on here, wire that hangs down there. You plug your 2 sides into that, and then there's a battery that runs along, a lead that runs along to your battery. So I'll leave it at that for now. Catch you later. Right everyone, just thought I'd give you a quick update on how far I've got. Doing a little bit more today after work. So grips on the left, just installed the controller. That's all gone nice and smoothly. Started to feed a few of the wires around, getting ready to sort out where all I'm going to put them. The only problem I'm having so far is with the accelerator. As I showed you on the grip before, you had the small lip down this end, which wasn't a major problem. That was nice and thin, was easy to get off. But the one down this side is considerably bigger. So that's this big section here. I've started to try and grind it away a bit. I was trying to do it on the bike because I didn't want to go to the hassle of disconnecting the cables, but I've had to do it. What I'm about to do is pop down work and use the grinder at work and grind that away. That's just way too substantial to be able to sort of cut it away with a knife. But other than that, it's all been going smoothly so far. So I get this sorted out, I can get the right hand side Oxford grip on, and then it's just going to be a case of feed them down here, start to get a little bit of it tied up, sort it all out as best as I can, and the advice to put electrical tape over the block connections. So I'll sort that out. I'm hoping to have it all finished today, all being well. I'll let you know how it finishes up. Catch you later. Right, we're getting a little bit further along now. So I went down to work, I've grinded that big lip off of there. So if you ride a Suzuki Bandit, that's something you're definitely going to have to do, otherwise the grip's going to be too big to fit on there. So that's only just done now, as well as there's actually two lips of the big one, but then there's another little one a little bit closer to that, and I think you're really going to have to take both off, unless you want to go down the line of cutting a chunk of the grip off, which I didn't want to do, just in case I made a bit of a naff cut of it. Right, the bit I'm mucking about the mouse with, which I think is going to be the longest part of the job for most people, it's all done. Controllers are on, both things are on. All I'm trying to do now is find a tidy way of hiding the main wires coming off of there. So I've been mucking about all around the various parts of the fairing, but whenever I was trying to do it, it was kind of standing out, or it was going to be snagging on the forks when it was turning. So I could see me spending a little bit of time on this, but main thing I'm just looking at now, I might be able to hide it just in the centre part of the frame there now. Both the grips should reach under there. There is a little hole under there you can feed through. So actually that would work quite well if that works out. The actual lead from the battery is going to be no problem at all. That's just going to be there. Run it along the frame and basically just stop anywhere around here. Wherever this connection ends up, that's all you need. So the battery bits, that's piss easy. It's just finding a nice spot for these. Hopefully I can wangle them somewhere in the middle here. Right, I shall crack on. Okay guys, I think I've finished now. Finally figured the best place for the wiring was to come just down the frame here, come through this centre section, and this wire here. So the main wire coming through there, that's from the controller, and then you've just got two connections, plug each side of your heated grips into that, and then you connect up your battery wire, which I'm just going to run along the frame along here, then straight to the battery. So that's nice and simple. I've got a 5 amp fuse. So this job's not a hard job, it's just one of them step-by-step processes. I mean, most people, if you have a little bit of a think of it. Okay everybody, I think we're just about done. It's not been too bad on the whole. A little bit of fiddling about, more time spent mucking about with wires than anything, but we're all together. Just got the tank to throw back on. I've just finished sorting out the last of the wires. So I run out of space on the camera on the last video, so as I was saying, in the end I went along with bringing the wires through the centre part of the frame here. That takes you completely away from around the base of the frame, which they were standing out like a sore thumb. So this has actually worked out very nice, just coming under here. So you've got the main wire here. This is the main lead coming down from the controller. You've got two blocks either end of that. You just put your two different side grips into the connectors. You can't go wrong in them. They'll only fit into the two hand grips of the same connection, and then the connection for the power from the battery, that's a slightly different connection, so you can't go wrong and put them in the wrong way. So that's all nice and simple. So I'll just come down here, put a couple of little ties on just to keep everything in place, stop it dropping on anything too hot. Then I'll come along here with a wire. So that's just a straightforward, straight onto your battery. Little 5 amp inline fuse there. So nothing much go wrong there. The beauty of this new controller, this is the V8 it's got on it, so I assume that stands for version 8, and I've seen about 4 different types of Oxford. So this is the latest one. And the good feature on this one, on the model before this, that little green bit you can see there, that was the on off button. Now all you do is press the plus or the minus to turn on and off. And what this new unit does is it actually monitors your battery. So with the old ones, if you wired it directly to the battery the way I have, then you always had that risk of, if you got off the bike in a rush and you forgot to turn the grips off, you'd come back and find you had a flat battery. Well, that won't actually happen now, because this will monitor it, as I'll show you what will happen. I'll just turn it on here. Right. Let's whack it up to full power. What this will actually do, it senses whether or not there's any electric pulsing through the circuit. As you can see now, that green light that's flashing, that's basically indicating that it's actually switched the grips off. Although this light's still on, it's not actually sending power to it now, because it senses the bike's not running. So to save any danger of running your battery flat, it does that. Now it'll stay like that. In the manual it says for 5 minutes. Obviously assuming you've just turned the bike off for some reason and you'll be starting it shortly, so it'll keep it on and on the same heat setting. After 5 minutes, if it detects nothing has changed and the bike hasn't been started, then it will turn the unit off completely. So you've got absolutely no danger of your battery getting flat. And so this control is very nice feel to the buttons and that. And so you hold the minus to turn it off, plus button to turn it on. If you hold the plus for 2 seconds, then it will just jump straight up to full power. I did turn them on a little bit earlier with the bike running to try them, and within 2 or 3 minutes on full power they were getting very hot. So I imagine they're going to work really well. I'll take it out for the test run tomorrow, but going by how hot they felt like they were going to get, I think they should be a really good thing to have when the bad weather kicks in. Most people I've watched videos on these, they all say you actually can't keep it on 100% even on a really cold day, because it's just basically too hot. So I'm just going to throw the tank back on it now, and basically job done. If you're thinking of fitting these, then I think most people, if you're someone who likes to have a play with your bike, then I don't think you'll have any trouble doing this. It's just a step-by-step process, going through the motions. You'll probably, like me, you'll probably spend more time faffing about trying to make the wires all nice and neat and not stand out too much than you will doing the rest of it. So, highly recommended. Obviously I haven't tried them yet, but as far as the fitting goes, and they just feel like good quality, everything about them. So the other hard bit was messing about with that thick lip that's on there. Now obviously you might not have that hassle depending what bike you've got. I know it's on this, and I know with someone I saw doing it on one of the new V-Strums, it had the same. So I'm assuming if you've got a fairly modern Suzuki, then you'll probably find it's on them all. It's, now they like they come up with an idea and they tend to use it on all the bikes, but you've got someone else or an older model bike, then you might not have that hassle. But this is of some help to you, so I'll get it loaded onto YouTube. So catch you all later. Right everyone, just out on the bike testing the grips out for the first time, and on the whole I gotta say I'm pretty impressed. I reckon it's only 6 degrees probably. I went out on the bike at about 15 minutes where I didn't turn the grips on, just to see how quickly the cold got to me, and it was getting to me after that short amount of time. I put the heats on full heat for a while. You can't really keep them on 100% for too long. It does start to get a bit too warm. And dropped it to 75, and not long after that I was actually down to 50, which I say even on a cold day like this, that's probably what you're going to have it on the bulk of the time. That's just comfortable. You do get a bit of cold still on the front of your hands obviously, as it's not an all round heat, but the length of time I've been on the bike now, sure. Waiting for the noisy wagon to go by. I'm sure by now I'd be thinking, sod this for a laugh, I'm going home, but I reckon I could carry on for another hour or so. So they definitely extend how long you can stay on the bike. I say this controller works a treat. So I reckon there 50% is where you're going to spend most of your time, I reckon. They do warm up really quickly. You do feel it coming through your gloves nicely. That's a nice, buttons are a nice feel to them, even with your gloves on, you no problem pressing them. But on the whole, I'm very pleased I bought these. As you've seen from the previous videos, it wasn't a major issue fitting them. There hadn't been for having to muck about with that lip on the throttle. It would have been a lot quicker, but depending what bike you've got, you may or may not have that same problem, but still it wasn't the end of the world. Got the wires all tucked away nicely. Really can't see the bulk of the wires. You obviously see where they come off there, but that doesn't look too bad. And then they're all disappearing nicely down here. So definitely worth the money. If you do a lot of winter riding, you're doing early trips to work in the morning, then I would definitely say this is something you should invest in. Give you a proper look at my baby. Oh, it looks really nice, that colour. You don't see many of this colour. I've only ever seen one more flying about my area. Nice all round bike. I've had this about 4 years now. I think in total we've done about 1,000 miles by the time the trip there and back, and the running about with it. It's my second Bandit. I had the older model to this before, which I quite liked. They've definitely made a big improvement on the handling with this model. I think they used thicker tubing and that, and generally stiffened up the suspension. It's a very noticeable difference. First impression I had when I first bought this bike was that the suspension was probably adjusted to its firmest setting, but then when I read the book it actually turned out it's on its lowest. So, but not a bad thing. Not a really good bike, and bags of power for a 650. I know there's lots quicker bikes these days, but these really are good all round bikes and cracking touring bikes. I've got the big Givi box to chuck on there when we go camping, and then you can get your tent and what have you on there, and you're ready to go. I'll be able to go a little bit further now. I've got these things, so my hands now they're a little bit, mostly on the front seat of my hands. You can feel it a little bit, but for the time I've been on the bike, really not bad at all. I reckon that would have been absolutely frozen. My hands would have been by now without the grips. So I would recommend you getting them, and I'll pick these up for £56 on eBay, which is a good price, because it wasn't that long ago you were lucky if you could get them for less than about 80. The local bike shop, Street Bike in Birmingham, I know they're still about £90 the last time I looked at them in there. So first impressions, very happy with them, happy with how easy they were to fit, and also a good thing when you do stop somewhere, you can leave your bike ticking over and you can stand there with your bare hand on it, it'll really warm them up nicely then. But on the whole, I would recommend getting them. These have been a little bit of a help for people who are thinking of getting them. Catch you all later.